Okay, so we all know that swoosh, right? I mean, you see it and you instantly think shoes, athletic achievement, like the whole thing.
It's iconic.
It is. It really is. But how many of us actually know the story behind Nike? Like, how did they go from this little startup to this global brand?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to look at today.
Exactly.
So we're diving into Phil Knight's memoir, Shoe Dog.
Oh, yeah.
And it really takes you behind the scenes of building this global empire from, I mean, really starting from nothing.
Yeah, it's a wild ride.
It is a wild ride. So much innovation, so many like big risks, and even a few times where they almost completely went bust.
Oh, yeah. They had some really close calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So today we're going to really lace up those shoes and just hit the ground running.
Okay.
With this incredible story of Nike. And you'll hear all about, I mean, the waffle soles, we got to talk about those, the gamble on Michael Jordan and how they somehow managed to not go bankrupt multiple times.
It's a story that proves that, like, sometimes the craziest ideas are the ones that win, you know? And that sometimes taking a risk on someone everyone else thinks is too green, well, that can really pay off.
Yeah, that's the understatement of the century, probably.
Yeah, right?
Okay, let's start with the shoes themselves.
Okay.
Like those waffle soles.
Yeah.
I heard the story is almost too good to be true.
It is kind of wild.
Yeah.
But that famous Nike waffle sole, like the one that really kind of put them on the map, it started with an actual waffle iron.
No way.
Yes, I'm totally serious. So Bill Bowerman, he is Phil Knight's co-founder.
Okay.
He was obsessed, I mean, truly obsessed with getting his runners. He was a track coach.
Right.
To have like every little advantage. So he's constantly, you know, experimenting. Tinkering, yes.
Yeah.
With materials, designs, you name it.
Yeah.
And one morning, he's having breakfast.
Uh-huh.
And get this, he looks at his wife's waffle iron and bam, inspiration hits him. Like, out of nowhere.
That's crazy.
It is, right?
So what, he just thought the pattern would be good for traction or something?
Exactly. He figured those little squares, that grid, you know, it could give running shoes crazy good grip.
Wow.
Right.
So he really poured rubber into a waffle iron.
Yep.
I've heard that, but I honestly thought it was just a myth.
It's one of those stories that sounds made up, but it's totally true.
That's amazing.
It really shows you that, like, that early Nike culture, it was all about just trying stuff, being resourceful.
What, garage startup mentality?
Exactly. They didn't have fancy labs or anything. They were just trying to innovate, make things better for athletes.
So it wasn't just a gimmick. Like, the waffle sole actually made a difference.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it gave a huge performance advantage.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, and it helped put Nike on the map. Like, people started noticing them, like, hey, these shoes are different.
And speaking of putting them on the map, we got to talk about the swoosh.
Right.
That logo is everywhere.
I mean, it's so simple, but so recognizable.
And it's crazy to think they paid like next to nothing for it, right?
You're not going to believe this. $35.
You're kidding me.
Nope, $35. And they got a logo that's now, I mean, it's worth billions.
It's crazy how powerful a simple image can be.
It's all about branding, right? Like that swoosh, it's more than just a check mark. It represents something. Aspiration, achievement. You know.
Totally. It's like instant recognition.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got these crazy innovative shoes and this super powerful logo, but let's talk about the real game changer. Michael Jordan.
Ah, yes, the Air Jordan phenomenon.
It's legendary now.
For sure.
But back then, he was just a rookie.
Yeah, like a really promising rookie, but still a rookie.
And I heard a lot of companies were kind of hesitant to sign him.
Yeah, it was a risk, you know? I mean, who knew if he'd live up to the hype?
So why did Phil Knight go all in on him? Like, what did he see?
You know, Knight always had this knack for spotting potential.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he could see past the current stats, the present moment.
Yeah.
And he saw something special in Jordan. It wasn't just the basketball talent.
Right.
It was this, like, charisma, this drive. And he just knew Jordan could be huge.
And this is all while Nike was still, you know, figuring things out themselves.
Oh, yeah, it was a gamble, for sure. Especially since, you know, they weren't exactly rolling in cash at the time.
So Knight basically took a chance on Jordan, and it became, well, the Air Jordan empire.
It's crazy, right? Like, no one could have predicted just how huge it would become.
Air Jordans became more than just shoes.
Oh, yeah.
They became this whole cultural phenomenon.
It was like this perfect storm, you know? You had Michael Jordan, this incredible athlete, and you had Nike, this company that knew how to build a brand, and they created something that, well, it changed everything.
It did. Like, it changed the way we think about athlete endorsements, sports marketing.
It wasn't just selling shoes anymore. It was selling this idea, this lifestyle, you know?
Like aspiration, coolness, all of that.
Exactly. And it made both of them, Jordan and Nike, into these global icons.
Like legends.
Absolutely legends.
I mean, it's amazing to think about how that one deal like completely changed, I mean, the whole sneaker industry.
And athlete endorsements, like everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
But getting to that point, I mean, it wasn't all like smooth sailing for Nike, was it?
Oh, absolutely not. No.
I mean, they had some serious struggles, didn't they?
Yeah, some major hurdles for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking almost going bankrupt multiple times.
Yeah, that's what I was reading. Like, how do you even come back from that?
Resilience, man.
Seriously.
Pure resilience.
So when was it the worst? Like, when were they the closest to just like going under?
Well, one of the, really nail-biting times was just before they went public, you know?
Before the IPO.
Yeah, the IPO.
So they're about to go public and they're like on the verge of collapsing.
Yeah, I mean, imagine the pressure.
Oh my God.
Right. Knight's put everything into this, his time, his money, his energy. I mean, his whole vision.
Yeah, and it's all riding on this IPO.
Exactly. Like, if it fails, that's it. Game over.
So what happened? Did the IPO like save them?
It did. It was a huge success. They raised a ton of capital. It was, way more than they expected.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that IPO wasn't just about the money, though.
Right.
It was like this validation. You know, the public was saying, hey, we believe in you. We believe in Nike.
So it was like this vote of confidence.
Totally.
Yeah.
It showed that Knight's vision, that crazy dream he had. It was actually something special, something worth investing in.
That's so awesome. You know, it's like you see this like crazy resilience with Nike. Like they get knocked down, they face these huge challenges, but they just keep coming back.
Yeah, it's like that just do it attitude, but like in their whole business approach, not just for marketing.
Oh, so I don't know, they just never give up.
Nope.
But it's not just about like bouncing back.
Right.
It's also how they're always ahead of the curve.
They've always innovated.
It's like they just know what's next.
It's kind of wild, right? From those waffle soles to Air Jordans, and then all the technology they've put into their shoes over the years, they always seem to know what's coming.
It's like they're, I don't know, like time travelers or something.
Right. Like they've got a crystal ball.
Okay, so we see this incredible resilience and this crazy innovation, but what else is there? Like, what's the secret sauce of Nike?
Well, one thing that really stands out in Knight's book is this idea of like vision over profit.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means that like he wasn't just chasing the quick buck, you know, he was always thinking long term, like what's the bigger picture here?
So it's like not just about making money right now, but building something that will last.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes that meant making tough decisions, like maybe passing on a deal that would have been profitable in the short term, but wouldn't have fit into that larger vision.
Was the Jordan deal like that?
Oh yeah, that was a huge risk, a massive investment, and it could have completely backfired.
But it didn't.
It didn't. Because Knight was willing to play the long game, he believed in Jordan, he believed in that partnership, and he was willing to be patient.
And it like paid off.
Massively. Massively is an understatement. Like
Sure.
it changed the game for them.
Okay, so if we're gonna like break this down,
Yeah.
what can we actually learn from Nike's story? Like, what are the takeaways for us?
Well, first and foremost, resilience, like we talked about. Life throws curveballs. You know, you're going to face setbacks, failures, disappointments, but it's not about how hard you fall. It's about how quickly you get back up.
It's that whole like fall 7 times, stand up 8 kind of thing.
Exactly. And that's something we can all apply to our lives, whether it's in our careers or relationships, whatever. It's that ability to bounce back that really matters.
That's a powerful message. Especially I feel like these days when everything feels so like fast paced and I don't know, just so much pressure to succeed.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's easy to get caught up in that, but Nike's story reminds us that like setbacks are part of the process. And sometimes they even lead to something better.
It's like those, you know, those stories where like an inventor messes up a bunch of times and then suddenly, bam, they discover something amazing.
Exactly. It's like those mistakes, those failures, they can be valuable learning experiences.
So resilience, that's a big one. What else?
Innovation. Like the world is constantly changing, right? So we got to be willing to adapt, to experiment, to try new things, to step outside of our comfort zones.
It's like, don't be afraid to like break the mold, try something different.
Yeah. And think about those waffle iron moments we talked about, you know, like where are you not looking for solutions that could actually be right there in front of you?
Like thinking outside the box.
Exactly. And that applies to everything. Like whether you're trying to solve a problem at work, come up with a new creative project, whatever, It's about being open to new possibilities.
I love that. Like, just stay curious, keep exploring.
Totally. And, another big takeaway for me from Nike's story is that whole vision over profit thing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's so easy to get caught up in like the short-term gains, the quick wins.
Yeah, like chasing that next dollar.
Exactly. But sometimes you got to be willing to like delay that gratification, to make sacrifices in the short term, to build something truly meaningful in the long term.
It's like investing in yourself and your future.
Exactly. And that takes discipline, it takes vision, and it takes, that resilience we were talking about.
Yeah, it's amazing how like one small idea can grow into something so huge,
I know, right? It's really inspiring, like, to see how much Nike's accomplished. And it all started with, basically nothing, just this belief in an idea and a whole lot of hard work.
And what gets me is like, they're not done. There's stories still being written. They're still innovating, still pushing boundaries. It's kind of crazy to think about what they'll come up with next.
Right. It's like, what's the next waffle iron moment going to be?
Exactly. Like, what's that next crazy idea that everyone thinks is nuts, but ends up being like revolutionary?
That's what's so cool about their story. It reminds us that like, no matter where we are in our own journey, there's always more to learn, more to explore, more to achieve,
Totally. So I guess as we kind of wrap up our deep dives into Nike, I want to leave you with this, like, think about what you want to accomplish, your dreams, whatever they are, and ask yourself, what's your waffle iron moment?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right. Like, what's that one thing that sparked that idea that maybe everyone else thinks is a little out there, but you just know it has potential?
It could be anything, like a random conversation, an idea you get while you're, taking a shower, a mistake you made that taught you something important.
Yeah, it's like those unexpected moments, those little things that can lead to something amazing if you just, have the guts to go for it.
It's about being open, being curious, being willing to take a chance.
So if you're ready to, lace up and chase those dreams, you have to read Phil Knight's Shoe Dog.
Oh yeah, it's such a good book.
It really gives you this like inside look at how Nike was built, all the struggles, the triumphs, the crazy ideas, the whole thing.
And it's so inspiring, it shows you that even the biggest brands, they all started somewhere with just an idea, a dream, a little bit of that, just do it spirit.
And that's something we can all learn from, right?
Absolutely. Like, no matter what you're passionate about, whether it's starting a business, writing a book, whatever, it's about believing in yourself, being resilient, and never giving up.
So go find your waffle iron moment, whatever it is, and make your mark on the world.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive